We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position because you're in no position to dictate that. Remember this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war,
you're not in a good position.
Did Trump just do Putin's job for him? In a shocking Oval Office meeting, Trump screamed at Ukrainian President Zelenskyy, "You're either going to make a deal or we're out," essentially threatening to abandon an ally fighting for survival against Russia. The question isn't if this happened, it's why. Why would a US president berate the leader of a country fighting Russian aggression? Why would Trump and Vance team up to defend Russia's trustworthiness? And most importantly, why did the Russians immediately praise Trump's behavior? These answers might be more disturbing than the shouting match itself.
And Donald Trump and J.D. Vance started yelling at Zelenskyy with Putin's talking points. President Zelenskyy stood up for himself. A shameful moment in American history, a day that will live in infamy, where Donald Trump and J.D. Vance laundered Russian propaganda directly into the Oval Office, where Ukrainian President Zelenskyy was a guest.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
For his country, for democracies around the world, and powerfully push back at Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
Even today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
What happens when a US president treats a wartime ally like a contestant on The Apprentice? Well, we just found out. And it wasn't pretty. Trump's meeting with Zelenskyy in the Oval Office turned into what might be the most awkward diplomatic encounter in recent memory. Picture this scene. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy, whose country is literally fighting for survival, sits uncomfortably while Trump and J.D. Vance take turns lecturing him like he's some kind of naughty schoolboy who didn't do his homework. The cameras captured every cringe-worthy moment as Trump, with his signature pouty face, wagged his finger and told Zelenskyy he's basically losing the war. The tension in that room was thicker than Trump's spray tan. At one point, our former and future president actually declared he's in the middle between Ukraine and Russia. Yes, you heard that right. The leader of the free world isn't supporting a democratic ally that was invaded by an authoritarian regime. He's just chilling in the middle, like Putin and Zelenskyy are just two neighborhood kids fighting over a bicycle, and Trump's the wise old man on the porch saying, "Work it out, fellas." But the real jaw-dropper came when Trump looked Zelenskyy right in the eye and said, "You don't have the cards right now." Imagine saying that to someone whose country is being bombed daily. He might as well have added, "You're fired," for the full reality TV effect. Trump then accused Zelenskyy of gambling with World War III, which is a funny way to describe defending your country from invasion. Now let's compare this to how normal presidents and world leaders treat Zelenskyy. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau welcomed him with respect and dignity. President Biden assured him of America's unwavering support. Even Boris Johnson, who isn't exactly known for diplomatic gracefulness, treated Zelenskyy as an equal partner. But Trump, he treated him like he was auditioning for a spot in his cabinet. And then there's Trump's bizarre man crush on Putin. He actually bragged about how Putin has never broken agreements with him personally, conveniently ignoring the fact that Putin has broken at least 25 international agreements with other countries. It's like saying, "Sure, that guy robbed 25 banks, but he's never stolen my money, so he must be honest." The meeting got even worse when discussions about a crucial minerals deal fell apart. This agreement would have helped Ukraine's struggling economy while giving the US access to rare earth minerals. A win-win that even business-minded Trump should have appreciated. But apparently, making reasonable deals isn't as fun as public humiliation. Speaking of humiliation, the meeting ended with Trump practically shoving the Ukrainians out the door. The lunch plates were still full when staff had to hurriedly pack them up, as Trump made it clear that visiting time was over. You know a meeting has gone badly when you don't even get to finish your White House chicken salad. The most telling part of this whole diplomatic disaster, Russia's reaction. Maria Zakharova, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman, actually praised Trump's restraint for not physically hitting that scumbag Zelenskyy. Let that sink in. Russia was congratulating an American president for not assaulting the leader of Ukraine, and Dmitry Medvedev, former Russian president and Putin's loyal lapdog, called Zelenskyy an insolent pig. When your diplomatic approach makes Russian officials happy, you might want to rethink your strategy. Grumpy Trumpy even managed to make the whole meeting about himself, complaining that Zelenskyy didn't praise him enough for past support. It's like getting mad at a drowning person for not complimenting your swimming technique while you're deciding whether to throw them a life preserver. The entire spectacle was less a diplomatic meeting and more like watching Donnie Deepers throw a temper tantrum because someone else was getting attention. World leaders watched in horror as the man who might return to the White House showed exactly how he plans to treat America's allies, with contempt, impatience, and a concerning fondness for their enemies. Let's be real about what just happened here. The cancellation of this minerals deal wasn't just some boring policy footnote. It was Ukraine losing a lifeline while Trump played tough guy for the cameras. The agreement would have given Ukraine a fighting chance to rebuild its economy and pay back America for all that aid. But apparently, that wasn't as important as Trump getting to flex his deal-making muscles. When America publicly dumps its allies, like yesterday's trash, Putin doesn't even need to fire a bullet. He just sits back in his fancy Moscow chair, probably drinking vodka and laughing while America does his dirty work for him. That's the real genius of his plan. Why waste Russian lives taking over countries when you can just get America to abandon them on live TV? This is exactly why the Kremlin cronies were practically throwing a party after the meeting. They don't need to invade when America's doing the diplomatic demolition job for free. When dictators see America treating its friends like contestants on a reality show, they know they've already won.